everyone, and welcome to our masterclass, The Two Faces of a CFO, Is It Possible? So I am thrilled to be joined by Alena Bennett, who is a CFO leadership mentor and expert. So welcome. We are once again thrilled to have you here today.
Thanks.
So
let me get the slides up. There we go.
No stress. Before we begin, I just wanted to also thank our event sponsors. So McKay Goodwin, Huddled, My Accounts, Fathom, Easy Collect, yours truly, Alena Bennett, EXL Cloud, F-Shore, and CFO Magazine. Now, small bit of housekeeping. I'm sure you're all well aware by now, but you can use the chat function or the Q&A function. And Alena is going to do her best to answer those questions sort of throughout. So without further ado, let's get into the session. And Alena, I will hand it over to you and I will fade out into the background.
Okay, awesome. Thanks everyone for being here. And given that it's 4 o'clock and I don't know how many sessions have happened during the day, but just a big congratulations to Adriana, Shauna, Ben, and the team at Wheel. It's been an incredible day, and I hope you've got a giant glass of wine or non-alcoholic beverage to celebrate. So well done and thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here today and have a conversation around the two faces of a CFO. Is it possible? Now, I reckon when it comes to two faces, I reckon it conjures up some interesting feelings. Like in the school ground, you know, you two-faced meanie, or replace meanie with a different word. It kind of conjures up this, oh, you're a two-faced blah, right? Not a great feeling, feelings of tension, feelings of anger, maybe a bit of frustration. And then I don't know about you, if you've seen Inventing Anna on Netflix. So the story around Anna Sorokin, otherwise known as Anna Delvey, just basically a complete con woman, really entertaining. I'm not sure if it's still on Netflix, but that was something that I managed to binge and complete very quickly. But again, this idea of switching identities, multiple faces, complete fraud, and con woman. So I reckon when we think about the two faces of a CFO, when I think about two-faced people, it really triggers our identity. And when I think about the work that I do with CFOs and their teams, integrity is one of those values that they hold nearest and dearest, right? It's really ingrained in our identity. If you think about how we've been trained, it's all about objectivity, independence, accuracy, right? It's actually part of the professional ethics that we have to learn and sign off on an annual basis. So this idea of possibly switching and having two faces actually triggers a lot of negative feelings for us, which is really interesting when it comes to our remit, which we'll talk about in more depth around. It's not just two faces, it's actually more like 4, 5, and 6. But I thought I would share with you some good news. And one of my favorite books that I share with my clients, and it's called The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. It actually says that you can create and use your alter ego if its purpose is to help do good and help you shine. The easiest example, or probably the most widely known example that we probably all know, is Beyonce's Sasha Fierce. So we know Beyonce was brought up in a conservative environment, church singer, all the rest of it, but needed to kind of step out on stage into this big world and be this kind of sex symbol and provocative singer. So she created this persona, Sasha Fierce, to really step in and bring that energy. So I want to just, as we sort of lean into this, I want you to be thinking about, well, what is the alter ego? And there's a better way to do this, but what is the identity that I could step into to perhaps counter some of these negative feelings around the different personas, faces, or identities that we need to have today? Why is this important? Well, because we know that the remit and the role of CFO has changed significantly over the past several decades. Gone are the days where we're hidden in the back of an office, beavering away on the numbers. In fact, one of my highlights of my career is having to do work outside of the toilets. Like, that's how little we kind of meant in the ecosystem of an organization. So in that case, we're really hiding in the background. We're really not expected to kind of step out beyond the back office. Then we've got this idea of drowning in paperwork. We've got so much on our plates. We're not necessarily hiding anymore, so that's great. We've got a little bit of visibility, a little bit of credibility, but what it's mean is suddenly it's just pile on, yeah? That's not great either. So we go, great. We can elevate out of that drowning mentality into, you know what? I'm just going to report some stuff, yeah? We go, well, reporting's cool. Reporting's certainly better than drowning, and drowning is, you might wonder whether drowning is better than hiding. But sure, reporting, you go, great, this is fantastic. People are starting to recognize my contribution to the organization. But as we know, and if we've kind of been in the ecosystem for a while, you understand this whole idea of scorekeeper to playmaker. But beyond reporting really is that opportunity to be advising, where people are coming to us as CFOs and saying, hey, can I pick your brain? I'd just like to get your thoughts about all this, yeah? But you can see what's happening is that even though we might be in this great position, pretty good position here, we're advising, but actually we haven't just gotten rid of the back office stuff. We haven't got rid of all the mountains of paperwork that we've had to do. And we haven't gotten rid of all of the reporting that we need to do. This is an evolution and it's a build, yeah? So the question we need to ask ourselves is, well, so what does that mean for us now when we're suddenly having all of these things added on to our remit? So no longer are we just the chief financial officer in charge of finance. We're the chief financial officer in charge of maybe HR, in charge of IT, in charge of risk, in charge of strategy, in charge of procurement. I'm not making this up. This is literally what my clients tell me they're in charge of. Responsible and in charge of data and analytics. So you kind of go, well, how does this actually work? Tell me another role in an organization that suddenly just has this pile-on effect of just do this, just do that, just do that. So when we're asking ourselves the question, the two faces of a CFO, is it possible? I think we need to ask that in the context of a CFO's job today is more multifaceted than ever. Yeah, that is the reality of the context that we're operating in. But you know what? CFO's job today is more multi-faced than ever. And so this is where we need to ask ourselves the question, multi-faced, is it even possible? So I'd love for you to all jump on your phones or click on the little link if you're on your computers, whatever's easiest for you. And we're going to get some interaction here so we can start to create a conversation, start to figure out who is in the room and what are the challenges and opportunities that we've got in this room this afternoon. So click on the link, and the question that I'm going to pop up for you in a minute is, how many faces do you have? When we think about I've got the finance, the core finance face, I've got the HR face, I've got the IT face, I've got the risk. How many faces do you have? Let's figure out who's got it in this room. Three, excellent. 2, 5, more than 5, excellent, excellent. 4, great. 4, I see you there, Shirley, thank you. 3. So interestingly enough, guys, probably not a surprise. The number of people that have got one face only is the lowest. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Yeah. So we're really talking about 5 or more faces that everybody in this room, or that most people in this room, have in their day job. I'm not sure about you, but that sounds pretty exhausting, yeah? So what I'd love to know now, just to sort of get a little bit more granular, tell me what else, same link, what else in addition to core finance is in your remit? So just type it in. What else in addition to core finance is in your remit? I see lots of people typing. This is great. Corporate strategic planning. Yeah, so just a little piece of work. Data and analytics, sales reporting, commission, HR analysis, legal, thanks Simone, IT, HR risk, thanks Leanne, commercial secretary, IT, legal, insurance, business partnering, compliance, data security, procurement, strategy, all of the things, HR policy, COO, contract management. 4 companies. So it's not even the one company. We're actually the CFO of 4 companies. Right, we got Andrea, who's got 8 faces. Wow. This is incredible, everyone. It's really quite, I do this not only to get insight and to learn about who else is in the room, but what I'm hoping that you all get out of this, because I know you can see the responses as you type yours in. I hope that you get a sense of validation that you're not alone in this pursuit, that there are other people, at least 26 other people. And if I look at the number of participants, at least 88 other people listening into this call that are going through similar responses to yourself. Yeah. So that's the other reason that I put these results in here, or put these polls in here. So what I'd like to do, so now let's take a breath and go, great. We've got multiple faces. We've got lots in our remit. Tell me, what about that is exciting? What's exciting about that? Because I think that's really cool. What that tells me is that chief financial officers of today and in the future add more value than just crunching numbers. They are there to help. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Lots of opportunities. It's never the same day. Learning and growth opportunities. Absolutely. Variety, opportunities of growth. Being involved in across everything. Sustainability. Love that. Ability to make changes to strategy. Yeah, not just being the accountant anymore and provide insight into the other aspects of the business. Love this. Having an impact, importance to the organization, future planning, adding value beyond the 4 walls of finance and variety. Love this. Influencing the whole business. Like, this is pretty cool stuff. Ability to hold the CEO to ransom for a decent pay rise. Love it. Love it. Potential CEO mate for advice. Absolutely. Learning other areas of the company, consider other factors for absolutely. Staying relevant in the workplace. Like, there's so much excitement and benefit about that increasing in value. So let's just kind of step into the context of reality. What about that is challenging? It's not all roses. There's still a job that needs to be done. So what about that is challenging? Time to do it all well. Time to learn is scarce. Time spread too thin. Having time to step back and be time, communication. Absolutely. Absolutely. Time management. Resources. Yep, absolutely. Spread thin. Overwhelm. Sheer volume of work. Jack of all trades, but not an expert. Thanks, yes. Great to see you. Time. Managing expectations. How is it June? Here. Time. Keeping the balls up in the air and deciding priorities. Yeah, you know, another metaphor, keeping up all the balls up in the air, but also keep all the spinning plates without worrying them what's going to drop. So totally fine. Managing time and personal life balance. For anyone that knows me just a little bit, know how much I value that personal life balance, or integration that I call it. So we can't ignore just how critical that is. Keeping everyone happy and finding a good compromise. I love that, Shirley, because I said earlier today in one of the panel sessions that I reckon CFOs are the most service-oriented individuals in the business. And I truly believe that, because when I ask my CFOs, what motivates you? What do you really care about? They don't say money. They don't say profit. They say, I just want to help. Yeah. And so what I find is that CFOs, in the pursuit of helping and in the pursuit of service, they trip themselves over trying to be so helpful. They sort of deprioritize themselves a little bit, but that is a topic of another conversation. So if we just, so again, I want you to know we're around friendlies here. Yeah. We can see this is a great opportunity, but it's not easy. Yeah. So if we just extend this idea of, okay, so essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to fold a whole bunch of different roles into the one person. And we've got to ask ourselves the question, is it even possible? Yeah. Because my background is finance. And I know how frustrating it is to kind of come to sessions and to sit in front of leadership experts and for them to just kind of spout off motherhood statements, to sit back going, you've got no idea what this actually means. You don't understand the challenges that I face, because we have to focus on the past, the present and future. We've got compliance as well as our commercial and strategic opportunities. So this is a real question. And I think what we've learned in the recent history is that the challenge is real. Who killed Silicon Valley Bank? I'm certainly not here to suggest that the chief financial officer killed Silicon Valley Bank. But I don't know if anyone has read the 118-page regulatory report. I have. The warning signs were there. Yeah. And I do not believe, and I don't know any insider information or anything that's happening sort of in terms of the trials and all the rest of it. So I'm not privy to anything that's not in the public domain. But my belief is that there wasn't anyone doing anything malicious. No one was being careless. This is simply a case of somebody and somebodies, multiple people, being stretched very thin. And so therefore we're not able to see the objective warning signs that suggested that something like this could happen. My point is whilst the remit has grown, and while the role of a CFO has gone from that back office compliance focused role into the more sexy strategic commercial side, there is more fun. It's way more fun having conversations with your executive and your board around what's possible around the strategic direction of the company. But you know what? We've still got that basic role of custodianship and controllership. And when that goes wrong, this is what happens. Yeah. So the challenge that we face, everybody, today is real. The 4 quadrants of CFO leadership will always exist. So for those of you who do have a copy of CFO of the Future, will be familiar or followed my work for a little while, will know the 4 quadrants of CFO leadership. And what the 4 quadrants of CFO leadership framework is designed to do is really designed to outline the different quadrants of focus for CFOs that span not only the compliance and the commercial aspects of the role, but also the technical and the non-technical skills. Yeah. Those factors, or the intersection of those continuum, or continua, I think is the plural, give you the 4 different quadrants of CFO leadership, the controllership, so the basics of what we're here to do, and that is all around integrity. That is not going to go away. Team leadership. We can't do everything ourselves, so we need to be able to lead our team to create the leverage, not going away. Change leadership. Well, we know one thing for certain, and that is change is an inevitability, right? And so our ability to elevate and have impact in the face of change is always going to be around and needed. And our job is to lead with impact and create value, and that's all around strategic leadership, and that is not going to change either. So this is our world. And yes, the detail and the finer details might change. So they might evolve, but they're not going to go away. We are always going to be in that spinning plate situation or in the juggling ball situation. In fact, when I'm on stage doing this, I sometimes pretend I'm a DJ spinning decks and trying to figure out how to spin in the right songs. But luckily for you, I'm not on stage. What we do need to do is we need to find a way to stay off the cover, because I don't want to be on the cover of the AFR. I'm not sure about you, but it's just not one of my goals in life, yeah? And your organisation needs this as well. Why is this important? I want to take you through a little bit of a journey in terms of what we see now as it relates to CFO leadership and what that means to organisations today. So we all know that where we've kind of come from is the industrial age. And actually everything about our systems, our processes, our teams has all been based on the past. more money in, money out, process in, process out, and let's try and get more out of less. And that's how everything has happened. That's how our organizations, our teams are structured, yeah? Well, we're now in what we might know as the information age, yeah? We think about, big data. Data is everywhere, right? So it's all about how do we access and compile all of this amount of data and create something useful. How do we use information to get the edge, yeah? And that's all around what we're doing now in the present. And it's what finance teams today, CFOs and finance teams are grappling with today. So where we're going, in my opinion, so what is the future? That is the insight age. Whoops, excuse me. And you might say, well, Alena, that's what we're supposed to do now. We're supposed to create insight. Yeah, absolutely. But what I'm saying, the difference between now and then is today, it's all around information. How do we use information to drive insight? Well, in the tomorrow, in the land of increasingly exponential change, accelerated change, more shocks than we know how to deal with, it's going to be insight first because information is everywhere. Yeah. So what does this all mean in terms of a business? Well, I want you to be thinking about your business. I want you to be asking yourself the question, is your business broken? My guess is if your business is broken, you don't have the time to come to these sessions. So I'm going to assume for the purposes of this that no one here is in a broken company. Then we've got businesses who are just focused on being compliant. Yeah, they're just trying to do the things right now. They don't have the space or capacity to think about commercial growth. They're really stuck in the land of let's just do what's right to get by. Then we've got the next level up where we say, all right, well, so we've elevated a little bit beyond a compliant company. We're actually quite competitive in the market, yeah? And that's a pretty good place to be because no one really just wants to be compliant. Where's the fun with that? We want to have a little bit of mongrel, to the work that we do, right? We want to actually be a name, be a player in the industry, be a challenger brand for some of you, yeah? So that's all really cool. But I reckon, given where we're going, given that we've definitely moved out of the industrial age, despite the fact that our organizations and many of our teams are still structured around the industrial age, we're currently sitting in the information age, but we know we're going into this insight age where changes are increasing in velocity, results are accelerated, and changes even, happens even in an even smaller loop. We need to think about being a contribution-led organization. So are we really customer focused? Are we really purpose-led? What is the contribution that our organization gives to society? And so what that means is that you need to redefine what it means to be a value-driven CFO in your organization. It's a really exciting opportunity that you all have in your organizations today, but in order to create more value tomorrow. So you go, well, that's kind of all well and good, Alena, but what does that actually mean? What do I need to do? Well, the three key outcomes we work on with our CFOs, the first one is unwavering confidence. Yeah, and so when we are working on delivering our clients unwavering confidence, the question we help them seek to answer is how do we show up with the self-certainty to inspire confidence in others? And so what we've got here in this unwavering confidence, we've got this internal self-confidence thing going on. And then we've got this external manifestation of how we inspire confidence in others. So there's both this internal and external view. And it's really interesting in the Finance Monthly publication, Redefining the CFO's Role for Effective Strategic Leadership. CFOs are seen as inspiring by others, but it's a characteristic that many CFOs didn't see in themselves. Only 10% of CFOs saw themselves as inspiring, and 37% of their colleagues. So there's a couple of things going on here. One is the obvious mismatch between how we see ourselves as CFOs and how others. That's the self-confidence element, the self-certainty element. The other element to this, of course, is 37% high enough? Absolutely not. Yeah. And so the work we do is we say, well, how do we elevate that percentage so that CFOs are actually sought after for their most challenging insights, and they are not operating in that red zone in their degrees of visibility. So I'd like to jump back in. It's exactly the same QR code as before. And I'd love for you to answer the question, how do you show up with the self-certainty to inspire confidence in others? So we've got, I'm an invisible pretender. So that's kind of where I'm hiding, maybe bit of imposter syndrome going on. Maybe you're new to the role and so a little bit unsure about what your persona is going to look like. You have a business persona. So, it's like when you come into work, you put the suit jacket on and you go, right, I'm here, I'm ready to go. You have a purposeful promise. So that tells me that you're a bit of a purpose-led leader. You know your purpose, you know how you can bring that to life at work and you do a reasonable job of doing that. Or I have a powerful presence, which is where I show up, people look, people listen, and people resonate and respond. Awesome. We've got a good mix here, which is excellent. And so what our job is when we're doing our work with clients is knowing the trajectory of the landscape from industrial age to information to insight age, and knowing where we're trying to get our organizations. We look to moving them from where they are now to having that powerful presence. If you think about, if you were a CEO or a board member, who do they want to sit beside them? Do they want a CFO who is an invisible pretender? No, because that sounds completely risky. Do they want a CFO that has just a business persona? No, because you never know what's genuine. Do you want to have someone that's there with a purposeful promise, or do you want to have someone sitting behind you that has a powerful presence and that you're proud to have sitting alongside you? So that's the first outcome that we work on. What I'd like to do is just give you 3 key practical tips that you can take if this is an area that you need to elevate for yourself. The first thing is, and I'll note that there are some resources at the end of this. If you stay to the end, I've got some resources that you can download to help you with a lot of these points, because I could go all day, as you could tell by this, but I know I can't. So the first tip is be clear on your brand and the value you can deliver that no one else can. Yeah. So when I look at a lot of CFO CVs, most of them look the same. Yeah. And, as someone said, I think it was you, yes, before said that, we can be the jack of all trades, but the master of none. Yeah. And I reckon we've got to stop trying to be all things to all people and really understand where we create the most value, and where we can deliver on outcomes that no one else can. Then the next thing that we need to do is know your contribution to the world through the work you do. This is a big statement, but I truly believe that CFOs can change the world. And that is because, as I said before, I reckon they're the most service-oriented people. I think the missing, and obviously, given the role that you've got in the organisation, you can lead the organisation to the future. You've got the smarts, you've got the opportunity, right? You've got your in, as I mentioned earlier today. The missing link quite often here is that link between what is my personal purpose, or what is the contribution that I want to make, and how can I deliver that through the work that I do? The beauty of that question, or the beauty of that goal, is that is how you help your business get from wherever you are now to get to that contribution-led business. The third tip, super boring, but plan, prepare, and put yourself out there. I bang on so much about planning and preparation, but I tell you what, once you've got that in your regular cadence, it will become easier, it will become more fun, and the putting yourself out there part will be super, super easy. So those are my 3 hot tips for unwavering confidence. The second outcome that we work on with our clients is uncapped productivity. So if we think about the time challenge that came up in our poll earlier, this one talks to that. So the question that we seek to answer for our clients here is, how effectively and efficiently are you using your systems, your people, and your processes? And in a data rails survey last year, 81% of CFOs believe they suffer from the most intensive daily manual work compared with any other role from the C-suite. Based on the work I do with CFOs, I tend to agree with that statement. So the question I'd like for you to answer now is exactly that question. How efficiently and effectively are you using your systems, your people, and your processes? Are you stuck in a highly manual scenario? Are you working in unsustainable sprints? So you're really going, oh, we're at a period end, or we're at a milestone, and we're going to run, and it feels like I'm approaching burnout. Then thankfully the sprint ends. Or have you got great momentum and cadence? Things might not always be automated, but you've got a really good rhythm going on at the moment. Or are you one of the very lucky few where you're completely at ease and delivery feels effortless? Yeah, nice. Excellent. We've got quite a few people here with good momentum and cadence, which is excellent. A really good position to be in. We've got a few also in unsustainable sprints, which probably makes some sense. And then there's a couple of us that are stuck in highly manual land. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's kind of what I see out there when I do the work with my clients. So as I did with unwavering confidence, I've got tips. I've got 3 tips. I've actually got a 4th because I couldn't help it because we were talking about productivity. We need to stick to world-class habits. It kind of sounds really basic, but what I know is that most CFOs, because they are trying to be so in service of others, is that it means that they kind of put themselves a little bit on the back burner, and we don't take the time to instill and install world-class habits. We don't put ourselves in an opportunity where we can operate at our best. And if we are not operating at our best, we automatically sacrifice productivity. Focus on the bigger picture. The reason why I put this here is quite often when we're talking about time management and productivity, we can get stuck in the detail and we focus on the rats and mice that don't make a difference. What I know is my most successful CFOs, they somehow create space and time out of nothing. And actually what it is they shift their focus to the bigger picture and suddenly all of the noise fades away and they just focus on the must-dos. Get outside perspectives. If you need to unleash more productivity, get outside perspectives. They will give you shortcuts, they will give you insights, and what that will do is that will elevate the quality of the conversations that you can have internally, and you will get to outcomes faster. And then the 4th, I couldn't help but put use your team better. Yeah. As I said, with the leverage quadrant, we cannot do everything ourselves. So if we optimize our team, it automatically unleashes productivity for ourselves and our businesses. So on the home stretch, getting there, Adriana, I promise. The 3rd outcome that we work on with our clients is delivering for them profound value. And so the question, it's a really powerful question that we ask for our clients or help our clients answer here. And that is, how do we elevate our contribution to our people, businesses, and communities? Because I do reckon the purpose of business today is to serve our communities. And I reckon we have a really big opportunity thank you, to contribute to the betterment of society through the work that we do. So what the statistics that I've pulled in for this one is from the Accenture CFO decision-making survey from October last year. And it's really interesting. 86% of CFOs say their speed of strategic decision-making has increased, but 67% of CFOs say they feel paralysed at times by the number of decisions and volumes of choices they're expected to make. Yeah, so this ability to create strategic value is hampered. You know, if we're saying that if we've got this tension between, oh, I can make faster decisions, that's great, but actually a good 3/4 of that speed is hampered because of all the detail and the decisions and the volumes, that's not a great position to be in. So to help you assess where you're at and to see where your peers on this call are at today, I'd love for you to answer this last question. Promise it's the last question for today. And that is, how do we elevate our contribution to our people, our businesses and communities? Are you playing not to lose, partnering for profit, playing to win, or playing for purpose? When you come to work, where is your focus? What is the focus of attention for you, with your CEO, with your team, and with your board? Are you playing to win, partnering for profit, playing not to lose, or playing for purpose? This is good. I'm loving this. Yeah, this is great. We're playing for purpose here. And this is why that lift, that elevation into that contribution-led business is so important. And redefining your role as a CFO in order to enable that is so critical, because businesses today want to be playing for purpose. They know that partnering, we're not in a playing not to lose space here today. Partnering for profit is also not the end game for most CEOs and boards. Playing to win, yeah, kind of. Today, people know they need to play for purpose. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So it's good to see we've got the right people on the call here, Adriana. I love that. So my red hot tips for elevating your value and achieving that outcome is achieve purpose integration for you and your team. So what is purpose? What is purpose integration? I think about purpose integration as the more important metric and focus than engagement. When I think about purpose integration, I'm thinking, well, what is the purpose of the organization? What is the purpose of the finance team? And what is my individual purpose? Yeah. Most companies are very good at the first one, kind of reasonable at the second one, pretty ordinary at the third one. And that is because they don't give their employees the time or space to identify your own purpose. And then not only identify it, but understand how it integrates at all layers. So that's the first thing. Get that purpose integration for you and your team. Everyone will be on the bus moving in the right direction. Stick your nose into others' business. Be curious. We talked a little bit about this morning. In order to create profound value, you need to know what's valued. Yeah. So you need to know what people care about. In order to create profound value, you need to be talking to your business stakeholders. What really matters to them? Do you know what? I bet you it's not what you think. In fact, I know it's not what you think because given the work I do with my CFOs, we peel that onion and it's really interesting to find out what they really do care about. Get out in your community, really understand the answer to that question. What is the contribution my organization contributes to the community at large? So be curious. And then the third point, be prepared to go first. Yeah. I do think chief financial officers are in a really unique position to change the world. You've got the smarts, you've got the intent, and you've got the opportunity. Yeah. So don't wait. Be the change that you want to see. Yeah. So be prepared to go first. So I know I've covered a lot, probably a bit of a fire hose of information. So I've got some things to help you implement. This is a new QR code, but they are the same. I've just got them on 5 different slides. The first one is the 2023 CFO annual report. I've been releasing this. This is the 3rd year I've released the CFO annual report. You guys spend so much time preparing annual reports for your organization. I do one just for you. The focus of this one is the trials of balance. It's to help you create cut through, complexity, and to get that productivity and increase your velocity so that you can create that profound value. The identity iceberg. This is a tool to help you identify how you're perceived and what action you can swiftly take if there is a perception gap. Yeah, and I find this is a really useful objective tool to say, I can see what's going on. I can see that there's a bit of a mismatch here. Really simple and very effective tool that we use with all our clients. The brand power planner. So quite often when we're talking about our unique value proposition, what makes you stand out more than others, people go, I don't really know what that is. And actually, I remember getting that advice back in the day as well. The brand power planner helps you identify what that is and to help you articulate clearly to others what makes you stand out. The fourth one, I reckon questions are incredibly powerful, particularly when, and this is really relevant for CFOs, you know all the answers, but you don't want to be a know-it-all. Yeah. And so questions can be your absolute gift when you are trying to get people to get on the journey and to catch up to where you are, because you've already figured out what it's going to look like in 5 years' time. And as I said, no one likes a know-it-all. So I've got just a quick cheat sheet, 5 key questions that'll help you stand out every time for the right reasons. And the final gift I have to help you implement is really to help you balance the spinning plates or the juggling balls that we talked about before. So the Catalyst calendar is a simple 12-month calendar, but it's broken out in the Catalyst planning framework that we use with our CFOs. It's incredibly powerful. And what it does is not only give you the opportunity to create a really aspirational 12 months ahead, but it gives you a heap of comfort knowing you're not going to drop any balls because you've got all the key ones on your Catalyst calendar. So that really talks to the plan, prepare, and speak up point that I mentioned before. So I'm going to wrap up now. I'm going to say thank you so much for your time, attention, and interaction this afternoon. I know we're in a little bit of the witching hour, so I'm super impressed that everyone was on board, involved in the Slido, super useful information and insights. So really privileged to be here. Thank you so much for your time. And Adriana, I'll throw it back to you.
Thank you so much, Alena. You are always excellent, always engaging. How can people get in contact with you? Is LinkedIn, or any suggestions on, if they're interested in chatting more about, what you do and how you can help?
You can jump onto LinkedIn. If you click on that QR code and download those resources, we'll immediately be connected. So that's probably the easiest way. But feel free to send me a note. I'm pretty harmless, as Adriana knows. Alena@alenabennett.com.au or LinkedIn. I'd really love to talk with you more and answer any questions you might have.
Great.
I think it's an exciting time to be CFO. So yeah.
Lots of positive feedback. So if you're like me, Alena, and you thrive off a little positive reinforcement, just have a squiz at that chat there. There's much love. All right, guys, I will sign us out now. Thank you so much. I encourage you to get in contact with Alena. She's a star, and we're very lucky. So thank you again for sharing your time with us. All right,
Thanks,
everyone.
See you.